The furious waiter grabbed a wine bottle and smashed it right over the cleaning lady's head. She was just trying to defend a man she thought was a poor security guard. But what the bullies didn't know was that this woman had just been cruelly kicked out of her own home by her son. Her son coldly told her to pack her stuff and go back to the countryside, accusing her of causing trouble. It was all a setup. Just moments before, her cruel mother-in-law tried to steal her granddaughter's piggy bank for gambling money. When the cleaning lady tried to stop her, they started to struggle, and the mother-in-law threw herself on the floor on purpose. Her daughter-in-law immediately accused her of stealing the child's money and pushing her own mother-in-law. It turned out they had teamed up to frame her. This all happened in the house that she had paid for. Back at the restaurant, she was just trying to do a good deed. She saw a woman on a blind date order a huge meal worth almost 20,000 yuan, eat it all herself, and then try to stick the man she thought was just a security guard with the bill. The cleaning lady couldn't just stand by and watch, so she called out the woman's dine and dash scam. That's when the waiter and his thugs cornered the security guard and demanded he pay up. They were about to beat him up when the cleaning lady stood in front of him to protect him. The furious waiter then attacked her. But just as she collapsed and was bleeding, the hotel manager rushed in. He ran right past the thugs and bowed deeply to the man in the security uniform, calling him chairman. Kicked out of her home with nowhere to go, she had to live on the streets. She set up a small stall and tried to sell handmade insoles to get by. But her troubles were far from over. The same security guards who worked for the chairman found her and started bullying her, kicking her stuff all over the street. Just as one of them raised his hand to hit her, he was suddenly thrown back. It was the chairman, and he caught the woman as she fell. They looked at each other and instantly recognized one another from the restaurant. Her son had told her the down payment for the house came from his wife's family, but what he didn't know was that his own mother had secretly sold her family's land to give them the money, a truth his wife had kept hidden from everyone on purpose. The son lunged, but his mother slapped him hard across the face, screaming that he'd completely lost his mind. It was a desperate attempt to make him see the truth. But only moments earlier, he had stormed out of a family dinner, leaving his mother behind, who had been gone for days. His wife and mother-in-law had convinced him she would come crawling back once her money ran out. They never knew she had met a kind-hearted billionaire who was disguised as a security guard. He found her selling handmade insoles on the street, being bullied by his own security team. Furious, he fired them on the spot. He was shocked to find her selling such simple things, so he took out his phone and made a call. In an instant, his assistant paused a high-level corporate meeting and ordered every executive to go buy insoles immediately. Within minutes, a fleet of luxury cars pulled up to the street stall, as well-dressed men crowded around her, buying up everything she had. As she stared in disbelief at the sold-out stall, another rival executive showed up, furious that he had missed out. He spotted the woman's simple bag and offered her 5,000 yuan for it, calling it a work of art. The billionaire then stepped in, offering her a place to stay at his old, empty house nearby. That night, her son found her, demanding to know what she was doing with this old guy. He accused her of embarrassing the family. His words really hurt her, and she revealed the shocking truth that she was the one who had bought his house and had given him the kidney that saved his life. It was a secret her selfish wife and mother-in-law had been hiding from him all along. With a furious scream, the son slapped his own mother hard across the face, shouting that she was shameless. He couldn't believe she would be with some old guy instead of coming home. But what he didn't know was that just a moment before, the old guy had thrown him to the ground with a single punch for his disrespect. The son, blinded by rage, couldn't understand. This was the same woman who had been kicked out of his house just days ago, framed for stealing by his wife and mother-in-law. Now he found her on the street with another man. He accused her of being a shameless country bumpkin who had no money and a weak body, asking why any man would possibly want her. In an instant, the son froze in shock. It turned out his entire promotion was a lie. Just the other day, he got a call from his boss, congratulating him on being promoted to sales manager at the head office, with a salary 10 times his current one. His mother-in-law immediately took all the credit, claiming she had met the powerful chairman of the GU Group at a class reunion and put in a good word. That night, she threw a fancy celebration dinner, inviting all their relatives to show off. The wife and mother-in-law mocked the son's real mother, calling her a country bumpkin who had embarrassed them. But in the middle of the party, the son's boss called again, revealing the shocking truth that the promotion wasn't because of his mother-in-law at all. It was because his own mother, Xu Fang, was a good friend of the chairman. The woman he had thrown out onto the street had been saved by that very chairman. She had just gotten married to the billionaire chairman, and as a wedding gift, he sent his assistant to deliver a 28 million yuan Tang Sensai statue to her son's family. But the real gift was finding out the truth. That night, after the chaos, the chairman had found her at a small noodle stall. He learned she had been kicked out by her family and had nowhere to go. He offered her a place to stay in his old empty house. She hesitated, worried about gossip, but he looked her in the eyes and said that he didn't care about her health or her past. He only knew he was strong enough to take care of her for the rest of their lives. He asked her to be his wife, and with tears in her eyes, she finally agreed. A woman viciously shoves her to the floor, screaming that a useless country bumpkin was dragging the family down. It was supposed to be a celebration for her son's promotion, but the moment she arrived, she was treated like an outcast. Her daughter-in-law sneered that she looked like she was wearing a potato sack. The other relatives complained about a weird smell and refused to let her join them, forcing her to find a small plastic stool to sit on in the corner, away from everyone else. Her son said nothing, too embarrassed to even look at her. Suddenly, the hotel manager burst in, asking for the mother of Lin Hao. Instantly, the son's wealthy mother-in-law stood up, claiming to be her. It turned out the manager was delivering a gift from the company's chairman, a Tang Sansai statue worth 28 million. The family was overjoyed. The sister-in-law immediately declared that the single wealthy chairman must have taken a liking to her sister, seeing this as their ticket to a fortune. She then turned on the real mother, telling her to cut ties with her son immediately. When the woman refused, the sister-in-law attacked her, and in the struggle, she grabbed the priceless statue and smashed it into pieces on the floor. The mother-in-law shrieked in horror about her 28 million. The son, finally breaking his silence, turned on his own mother, blaming her for ruining everything. His wife warned him that his future was on the line. Fueled by greed and rage, the mother-in-law ordered them to teach the poor woman a lesson. The sister-in-law stomped on her hand with a high heel before grabbing a wine bottle to smash over her head. But at that exact moment, it was the chairman himself. He had come because his staff told him the gift had been delivered to the wrong person. He calmly stated that the $28 million statue was, in fact, for the poor woman his family had just been torturing. In an instant, the entire room froze, their faces a perfect picture of shock and greed. The mother-in-law was horrified, screaming about her lost fortune, while Lin Hao, seeing his future go down the drain, blamed his own mother for everything. Seeing her so cruelly treated, the chairman fired her son on the spot. His wife desperately tried to intervene, but the chairman ordered security to throw them all out. Now disgraced, and with her son's career ruined, after finding out the chairman was living in an old house in the inner city, she dragged her daughter and son-in-law there with gifts to beg for forgiveness. They arrived at the rundown building, convinced this was a test of their sincerity. But when the door opened, they saw something that left them speechless. Standing before them in an apron was the same woman they had just abused, the poor country mother they had kicked out. Only then did they realize the shocking truth that the humble woman they had looked down on was the new wife of the chairman of the Gu Group. Their son screamed his mother's name in disbelief as the reality of their huge mistake crashed down on them. Her own son screams at her, accusing her of stealing from the family to buy jewelry, calling her shameless for finding a new man so soon after getting kicked out. The mother-in-law, refusing to believe it, accused the woman of crashing at the chairman's house to cause more trouble. But the woman calmly stated that this was her house. Her new husband, the chairman, stepped forward and slapped the ungrateful son across the face. Heartbroken by her son's betrayal, the woman finally told them to leave and never contact her again. After they were gone, she felt incredibly guilty. She tried to return the expensive jewelry, telling the chairman she didn't need such things and had spent her whole life working for her children. Now, it was time for her to live for herself. The chairman refused to take it back, telling her that meeting her was the best thing that ever happened to him. That night, to make her happy, he ordered all the expensive clothing stores in the city to set up stalls at a local night market. His executives, dressed in expensive suits, sold designer dresses and handmade leather shoes for only 10 yuan. As the woman walked through the market, the very men who ran the city's biggest businesses bowed to her, offering her their best stuff for almost nothing. For the first time in her life, she shopped without a care in the world. But as they were leaving, they saw a little girl being pushed by a boy at a playground. It was her granddaughter. A man viciously accuses his own mother of being a thief, screaming that she is a bad influence on his daughter. The mother stands in shock as her son tells her to stay away from his child, calling her a worthless old woman. But what he didn't know was that he was being played for a fool. Just a moment later, his daughter breaks down in tears. She confesses that she lied. The real thief wasn't her grandmother, but her other grandma who forced her to lie. The little girl cried that her other grandma threatened to take her mom away forever if she didn't blame the innocent woman. Only then did the man realize the truth. His own mother-in-law had tricked his daughter into framing his mother. Back at home, the son's deceitful wife and mother-in-law celebrated. They had just found out that the VP's wife was an old college classmate, a connection they planned to use to advance the son's career. The mother-in-law then revealed her deep hatred, claiming the woman had ruined her own chance to marry the chairman years ago. Suddenly, the son clutched his side in pain. It turned out he had a kidney transplant 10 years ago, and his old health problem was acting up. Days later, the woman's husband took her for a walk in a sunny plaza where a romantic proposal was set up with flowers and balloons. As they admired the display, a man started bothering the woman, grabbing her hand and insisting that she dance with him. On the other end, an assistant informed the chairman that everything was ready. In an instant, the humble husband's whole attitude changed. He revealed he was the chairman of the Gu Group, the very man his son and mother-in-law were so desperate to impress. He had arranged the entire romantic display for his wife,